more playing, a little less talking.
All right, Sneak, what was your reaction to John Mara's comments?
Well, I think John Mara is right. And just from the standpoint of understanding what it takes to be a champion, what it takes to be great in this sport, we have to all understand that we are all interconnected. You can't have success if I'm not doing my job. Like, we're all dependent on one another. This is the ultimate team sport.
Yeah, that's why they gave me 2 draft picks. I snatched him and Mangini.
Right.
I work with them. Let's do this. Okay, bring them to our show.
Right, exactly. Yes. But we're all dependent on one another as a football team. And, you know, my belief is that character drives talent towards greatness. It's never the other way around. Talent doesn't drive character. Character drives the talent toward the greatness. And you have got to have football character. You have got to understand that I am sacrificing, I am doing this for the other guys, and I have to understand that the other guy, 10 guys, if they don't do their job effectively, I am never going to touch a football. And so until you come to that realization and you're willing to lay it on the line for your teammates and to do what's right for your teammates, you are, I don't care how you are, you'll never have the kind of success that you want to have. And the lack of emotional maturity has been the issue. And I heard you earlier on the show saying, yeah, what has he done since he was great, since the boat trip, since, you know, with all these emotional outbursts, I don't remember him being a factor since that time. I don't remember him being a difference maker since that time, except for, look at what he's doing. He's, you know, peeing on the field, you know, but, you know, those are the things that...
Well, we're not going to hold the broken leg against him, right?
No.
I mean, because one of the reasons he hasn't done much since the boat trip is last year he missed the vast majority of the year because of a broken ankle. When he did play last year, he was excellent. I mean, again, I'm not making an excuse for him, but I want to make sure we have a fair record of what happened.
How many games did he play last year?
Well, I think 4.5.
Oh, okay.
And 3 touchdowns.
So it's just been a long time since we've seen him, which what the owner is saying, I pay him money for what? To play.
To play, right.
So last year he was actually hurt, and this year we thought that, oh, the Giants are bad because Odell's hurt. Oh, the Giants are bad now and Odell is healthy. So I'm paying you this money so that we are a good football team. They don't pay players just so they can play and just to have the product out there. They're being paid so they can win. So I thought that's what the Giants owner was also trying to address, which he was forced to do at the owners meeting yesterday.
Listen, nobody can. I understand that the interview he did, it brought him into this news cycle. He had kept quiet. He hadn't had a sideline outburst. I had said the week before, I said to you, Jen, I think off the air, I said, Odell's gurgling. You saw it for a moment, like the frustration, and I was wondering what was going to happen. Now, I didn't know he was going to sit down with Josina and air out the team, and I came on TV the next day and said, there's no lies there, and C made the point, doesn't matter if there's no lies there, it's his job to lie in that spot.
Or to not say things like, I don't know if I'm fully committed to New York, I could see myself playing in other places.
Well, he didn't say that.
But you don't want to make, why say anything?
He didn't give the type of impression when you give someone $90 million.
That you want to...
That's going to happen. You got to get that money in this city. There's a reason why Michael Strahan is who he is and Tiki Barber is who he is. It's just not what they did on the field. It's actually what they said and the kind of leadership that they provided and the consistency. That's the reason why Michael Strahan is. The only person that would have that opportunity is someone like Odell Beckham. So for me, this is just not all football related. This is about the image of the player and the branding that the player says that he's about. I believe he's hurting his own brand.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. I think that sometimes you get confused. Like, the branding happens when you're great on the football field. That's when the true, like, that's...
But don't you think that's part of his frustration? Because I just want to ask you guys, does anyone think his, just on the football field, not even on the sideline, not the interviews, just on the football field, does anyone think he's deteriorated as a player? Because I don't. Does anyone disagree that he's clearly one of the 5 best, if not one of the 3 best players at the position? I think we all believe that. I think part of the frustration for him is the losing to go along with, I'm not having an opportunity. That's what he said in the interview.
What? Right. Stop being a crybaby. This is grown up. This is adult tackle football. Act like it. They're paying you $90 million. And you're sitting there pouting? You know something? I hope my boss sometime don't tell me the whole truth. I hope the guy, he can know, listen, in this business, man, I can't tell people exactly how we feel. And, Odell, it's hard to make people leaders. I don't care how much money you give them. Now, as a leader, I believe leadership is born into you, and you can become a better leader than what you are. But my biggest question is not the football. All right? Yes, he might be one of the top 5, but right now, also in the NFL, he's one of the top 5 disruptive forces on an NFL team. That's the reason why the owner was forced, Jenna. He was forced. I've been watching this man do press conferences for years, and that's what Jenna and I see in this, like, oh my God, he must even be more disappointed behind the scenes if that's what he said publicly.
Yeah, you look at that interview that he did with Josina, and I think the bottom line is, and you said it, you're responsible to lie. You're responsible to just not say anything, whatever the case may be. But as my dad used to tell me all the time when I was growing up, Mark, there's no right way to do something wrong. There's just no right way. You can slice it any way you want to slice it. But acting out, having a lack of emotional maturity, selling out your teammates.
No circumstance.
That is always 100% the wrong thing to do.
I don't care if he does a tell-all book in 20 years. Right. There is no way. There is no way. I do not expect Warren Moon for me to be able to tell you guys the unadulterated truth about playing with Warren Moon, and I expect Warren Moon to never say the same thing about Chris Carter. All right? And there is a reason for that. Because when we sign up for the brotherhood, we're signing up for the good and for the bad. And I'm going to protect your back. I'm going to make sure that the media doesn't poke arrows in you. Why? Because we signed up to do this together. And that part of this business, Odell does not understand. So he should have never told the truth about Eli. He should allow people on shows like this to be able to speak out and say, Eli is playing awful football. And for us to sit up here and say, was he lying? That's wrong, because we wouldn't happen to know anything about team sports if we adopted that theory. That is not good leadership. And that's what the ownership is more upset about than the team being 1-5. And that's more important than the team being 1-5.
Of course, unless Odell thought that by doing that he was anointing himself the leader of the team. This is what's wrong, that's what's wrong, this is what in which case he's so far from actually being a leader, then someone does need to sit down and talk to him.
Fine. The point, and I will concede the point on the interview as far as team sports goes. I think you make a compelling argument that it is not about telling the truth. That's not his job as the wide receiver for the team. It's hard to sway me off a corner. You've swayed me off the corner. But the point that I made to you earlier, and that I still believe, is for John Mara and for the Giants, it is actually an easier, if he had never done the interview, they're still 1-5. And then what questions is he answering?
Then he's not part of the problem. He's part of the solution. That's what he would say.
Agreed.
You know something? Are you worried about Odell? No. We are very pleased with Odell. Just what he said this offseason. Remember the interview this offseason? What did he say?
Agreed. That Odell's doing everything right. The point I'm making is, but then the arrow's got to sling somewhere. And the guy that John Mara doesn't want to have to sling them at, if Odell had kept quiet, it's not like this was part of Odell's master plan. It's just the reality.
Listen, okay, we have to assume this guy's run a football operation, they win championships. Behind the scenes, because it's the way you do it, Nick, I'm not happy with the coach. I'm not happy with the general manager. Just because he didn't tell us does not mean he has not addressed it. He has run a football club the way you would want to be run. And just because the owner's not saying the general manager did not do the right job in potentially the second pick, that's his job as the owner, not to tell us the truth. It's Odell's job to make sure that he reflects the ownership, the general manager, and the coach, and that's what good leadership should reflect. It should reflect what the ownership believes in, not what you personally believe. Your personal beliefs, you know something? They ain't worth crap. And don't tell us, because we don't care nothing about them, because they will not help your teammates and they will not help you win. So 1-5, yeah, you can hold that loss because you are personally responsible for some of it too.
Sting, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much appreciated. Got to take a break. Coming up, a little basketball. The Warriors.
Where's the offering play?
In for a big challenge this year. KD thinks so. Yeah, I read that right. That's next on First Things First.
I'll throw some cash in that.
Come on, you know a good Baptist or something, they're going to raise an offering.